All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Carly with the National Weather Service in Peachtree City. This is the special weather briefing for the winter weather event expected Tuesday and Tuesday night. This slide is showing you the highlights that we're going to be going over in better detail in the coming slides, but just to introduce it to you guys, we're going to go over it real quick right now. First of all, confidence is continuing to increase in the potential for light snow accumulations beginning Tuesday afternoon and lasting through Wednesday morning. So the main changes since we sent out the morning email include the higher snowfall totals and a winter weather advisory. Okay, real quick, guys, I just was informed that you couldn't see my slides, so hopefully that just got fixed here. And again, hopefully you all can hear me. So I'm going to go over the slide real quick once again. Confidence is increasing that there's going to be some light snow accumulations beginning Tuesday afternoon and lasting through Wednesday morning. The main changes since we sent out the morning email include slightly higher snowfall totals and a winter weather advisory. I'm going to go over that in finer detail in the next slide, but essentially most of North Georgia is in a winter weather advisory beginning at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning and lasting through Wednesday morning. There's a special weather statement for locations elsewhere. As far as current trends in the snowfall potential, roughly looking at across far North Georgia Tuesday afternoon into the evening hours. For the Atlanta metro and surrounding locations, Tuesday evening into the overnight hours, and Central Georgia overnight Tuesday into Wednesday morning. Another big concern that we have is the wind chill overnight Tuesday and Wednesday morning as well. Accumulations are going to have a difficult time melting over North Georgia on Wednesday due to the high temperatures, and we'll see that here in a couple minutes. Impacts mainly going to be to roadways given the degree of cold air, but once again we're really trying to emphasize the wind chills and the dangerous cold that's going to be moving in. This slide is showing the winter weather advisory. This was issued with the afternoon forecast package today. So all of the counties that are highlighted in the purple color are in a winter weather advisory. The counties that are highlighted in the pink box, I'm going to try to highlight this with my mouse as best I can, but these counties in this box right here, the winter weather advisory is going to begin at 10 a.m. on Tuesday and last through 7 a.m. on Wednesday. The counties in this white box, the winter weather advisory is valid from 4 p.m. on Tuesday through 7 a.m. on Wednesday. And we've segmented this winter weather advisory to account for the timing of the front and the potential snowfall with the front. There's a chance, depending on trends over the next 12 hours or so, we may have to extend the winter weather advisory south. That's something we're going to watch. But for right now, for what we have going, just focus on the counties that are highlighted in purple. So those of you in the pink, snow amounts, we're looking at around an inch with isolated higher amounts across the higher mountains. Wind chills are going to range from 0 to -5 degrees. Those of you in the white outlined area, your snow amounts are going to be less than 1 inch and wind chills 0 to 5 above 0. And again, emphasizing that the impacts with this are the travel because of the snow on the roadways and the cold wind chills. So something I also want to emphasize with this, and if you guys take away anything from this, please note that the winter weather advisory also is containing the dangerous wind chill. So we don't have a separate wind chill advisory out right now. All of those counties that are in the winter weather advisory right now are also in a wind chill advisory because of those dangerous wind chills expected early Wednesday. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. We'll go over it again at the end of the presentation. The image on the right, the tan colors that extend roughly south of a Gainesville to Atlanta line, those are the counties that are in the special weather statement. And these counties, we've decided to issue this for them because we're not expecting quite as high snow amounts as of right now, and the wind chills aren't going to be quite as cold, but still note that it will be very cold Tuesday morning into or Tuesday night into early Wednesday. Go over some timing. This is subject to change, as you all are very well aware of how this works. This image right here is a simulated radar reflectivity image valid around noon tomorrow. And just to give you kind of a rough idea of what the radar might look like, kind of what to expect for your location. So you can see the moisture associated with the cold front is starting to move into far northwest Georgia by noon tomorrow. So again, give or take an hour or two in regards to this timing, but it's looking like as early as noon tomorrow could start to see some snow move in to the far northwest Georgia counties. So the main thing to note with this is the temperatures are going to be falling right along where that snow line is. So you might see a very brief mix of light rain and light snow, but just note that that's going to transition pretty quickly to all snow just because of the degree of cold air that's moving in with the front. So do prepare for snowfall to potentially begin as early as noon across the far northwest. As we get into the evening hours on Tuesday, looks like a fairly slow moving system, but those temperatures are going to be falling pretty quickly after noon tomorrow from northwest to southeast. So again, could see a brief onset of light rain and snow as this moves southeast, but essentially prepare for all snow given the fast moving cold air with the system. So you can see that a lot of the snow is still lingering across far north Georgia and now into portions of western Georgia. And that is, you can also note that it's approaching the Atlanta metro area as well. So again, the onset of snow beginning as early as noon across the far northwest and continuing to move across a good chunk of North Georgia into the evening hours and finally approaching the Atlanta metro area. Don't take these times verbatim as well as the radar reflectivity you're seeing. This is just for planning purposes of what you could possibly expect tomorrow. As we get towards midnight, you can see something interesting, kind of a lull in the snowfall across the northeast portion of Georgia. That's likely due to what we call downsloping, where the air flows on the backside of the mountains, and so it usually will dry the air out a little bit. We're not completely sold on this potential yet, but that may end up impacting the snowfall totals a little bit for areas just northeast and east of Atlanta right now. But essentially plan for snow to continue to move south of Atlanta in the evening Tuesday going into a good chunk of the overnight. And by 9 o'clock Wednesday morning, still expecting the system to be lingering across the far southeast portion of our forecast area. And we expect most of this to be snow. Again, could see a mix of light rain and snow at this point, but at this point I'd say prepare for all snow. Light snow, but still going to be there. We are concerned about some redevelopment of snow, possibly some snow bands across central Georgia early Wednesday, say south of a Columbus to Macon line at this point. But again, something that we're going to watch in the snowfall trends over the next 12 hours or so. But just to point that out, that we do expect the system to be impacting most of the forecast area as we go into Wednesday morning. So this is probably the slide that most of you are waiting for. This is the expected snowfall accumulation. And you can see the highest totals are across the north and the northwest portion of the area. Right now, across those areas, we're looking at about an inch of accumulation. Of course, and the higher ridges could see slightly more than this, maybe closer to 2 inches, depending. So again, hard to say right now, but still plan for about an inch across that area. And as we work our way to the southeast, you can see those snowfall totals not quite as significant, but still nonetheless are expecting some across a good portion of the area, aside from the far southeast counties at this point. So worst case, these totals could be a little bit too low at this point. We'll monitor trends. So worst case could see about an inch or more from what you see right here. But at this point, this is what we're currently thinking is going to happen. We're going to transition more to talk about the temperatures now, because This is going to be a pretty significant cold front. So we do expect very cold air on the backside of this system. And like I said earlier, that's going to be filtering pretty quickly throughout the day on Tuesday. And far northwest Georgia is going to see that cold air the quickest, and that's going to progress from northwest to southeast through the night. So you can see pretty cold temperatures expected on Tuesday night, single digits to very low teens across most of North Georgia. And as we go further south, higher teens to around 20, and southeast of Dublin looking at lows around 30. And that's just because of the progression of the cold front. But the main thing with this is the winds are going to remain elevated behind the front, so it's going to be pretty breezy. So we're really concerned about the wind chills on Tuesday night. In terms of that, with the strong winds expected, wind chill values could dip below zero across far north Georgia, with single digits to teens expected elsewhere. And so, like I said on that first slide with the winter weather advisory, those of you that are already in the winter weather advisory, please note that the wind chill advisory is also embedded within that winter weather advisory. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. The winter weather advisory is being issued both for the snowfall accumulations as well as the wind chills. And we may end up extending a wind chill advisory further south, so say towards the Atlanta metro area, maybe to Noonan, Lawrenceville, those areas, we could be extending the wind chill advisory further south. Not necessarily the winter weather advisory at this point. But like I said, just pay attention to the forecast over the next 12 hours or so. But that's what we've issued with the afternoon package thus far. In terms of wind chills as well, Wednesday during the day, by the afternoon, wind chills are still going to be cold, but we're looking at teens to 20s as opposed to near zero in single digits. And by Wednesday night, not quite as cold as Tuesday night, but still going to be seeing some single digits to teens. Just a heads up, wanted to touch on that a little bit. High temperatures Wednesday, I'm touching on this real quick because you can see that these temperatures are not very high at all for Wednesday. Not getting above freezing potentially from Atlanta northward. So any accumulations that do occur Tuesday night and early Wednesday are going to have a very difficult time melting on Wednesday during the day. So this is going to be particularly true across North Georgia, where you can see those temperatures are the lowest. But down towards Columbus and Macon and further south, if you guys end up seeing any accumulation, that may have the potential to melt at least somewhat throughout the day Wednesday. So in terms of black ice potential then going into Wednesday night, it's too early to tell right now what kind of impacts, if any, there's going to be. It's really going to depend on how much accumulation we see Tuesday night and Wednesday. In summary, before I go over these again, I was asked if I could go over the first couple slides one more time. I'll go ahead and do that. But just to wrap things up for everybody else real quick, the main highlight with this webinar is to inform you guys that confidence is continuing to increase, that we're going to see some light snow accumulations beginning as early as Tuesday afternoon and lasting through Wednesday morning for a good chunk of the area. The main changes we've made since you've heard from us earlier this morning are the mention of some higher snowfall totals as well as winter weather advisories. And you saw those winter weather advisories were segmented by time and impacts. So portions of far north Georgia, that advisory begins a little bit earlier, and it's for 1 inch of snow accumulation or more, as well as the wind chills between 0 and -5 Wednesday morning. Areas just south of that in the winter weather advisory still are expecting up to 1 inch of accumulation or just slightly less than that, as well as wind chills from around 0 to single digits. The winter weather advisory ends for everybody at 7 a.m. on Wednesday, and that's mainly a wind chill issue. The snow will be ended for these locations before 7 a.m. on Wednesday, but the wind chills are expected to linger through the morning. Trends in snowfall potential include for far north Georgia, Tuesday afternoon into the evening, Atlanta Metro and locations nearby, Tuesday evening into the overnight, and Central Georgia, Tuesday overnight into Wednesday morning. Big thing with this system is also the wind chill, as strong winds are expected behind the front. Mainly concerned about this overnight Tuesday and Wednesday morning. Also note accumulations are going to have a difficult time melting over especially North Georgia Wednesday, but could end up being anywhere. Impacts with this system, going to be snow on roadways and dangerous cold. So just make sure you're prepared for all of that. If you have any questions, again, I do plan to go over the first couple slides here in a second, but if you do have any questions, I think the best thing for this is if you ask them in that comment box. That way after the webinar I can take as much time as needed to answer all of you. But do note that the next special webinar is going to begin at 4 a.m. Tuesday morning. So 4 a.m. is our next scheduled webinar for this event. So make sure you tune into that. We're going to send out the information for that after we get done with this webinar. And then I'm also going to be sending an email out with the recording of this presentation as well as the slides. So if you guys need reference to this, you will have it. But do plan for the next webinar at 4 a.m. You can also contact us by phone. We'll be here, you know that. And if you need to contact us on Facebook or Twitter, you could do that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and go over the first couple slides for those that either missed it or because my slides weren't changing. We'll go ahead and touch on that real quick, but I think I highlighted most of that in the summary. It was mainly just our level of confidence at this point, the winter weather advisories, and the trends in the snowfall. So just to be clear, I'm going to go over this slide one more time for you guys. The winter weather advisory is for all locations in the pink color. Those in the pink box, your advisory begins at 10 a.m. and lasts through 7 a.m. Your snowfall amounts are expected to be around an inch or locally higher, with wind chills right around 0 to -5. And those of you in the white outlined areas, your advisory begins 4 p.m. and ends at 7 a.m. for amounts an inch or less and wind chills 0 to 5 degrees. And for your impacts, you could be expecting snow on roadways and dangerously cold wind chills because, again, the winter weather advisory is being issued for both the snow accumulations as well as the wind chill. So think of it as a wind chill advisory within a winter weather advisory. Those of you in the tan shaded regions on the right image are right now in a special weather statement for lighter snow amounts or just flurries, as well as cold wind chills, but not enough to meet criteria at this point. But we are going to monitor that, especially areas just south of where the winter weather advisory has been issued already. So, all right, everybody, we'll go ahead and conclude that. Like I said, feel free to type any questions into the comment box, and we'll be back here at 4 a.m. The same way you logged into this webinar will be the same way you log in for the one coming up overnight tonight. So I'm going to open it up to questions. Like I said, comment box is the best way to go, I think, with this. Other than that, give us a call here at the office. All right, you guys have a great evening.